Hey guys, and welcome back to yet another episode from the Overclocked SMP, where we are gonna be playing some Monifactory. It has honestly been way too long, and I'm currently joined by nobody, and that isn't exactly surprising to me. The Matter has started his vanilla multiplayer survival thing that I might just hop into after I'm done with Ultimates 10. John Hall and Zydrin have gotten too busy with life to keep playing consistently, and I believe Stock has sort of moved on. And that just leaves me. And fortunately for y'all, I really happen to like automation games, so hey, let's see what I can cook up this episode. Last I remember, there was an elevator here somewhere. Here it is. And I set up an EBF back here. This needs MV to run and also apparently needs maintenance. Something or the other. I'll have to figure that one out. And to route power to this guy, I wanted to set up like a big engine room up here and have it divert power not only to this floor but also like some of the EBFs I would end up setting over here and also to the floor above this, which I'm not sure if it's connected by elevators. It isn't. Impressive. And while I'm slowly figuring out the tools needed, I just need the crowbar now, I want to point out my build plans that have changed for the series. What I've ended up realizing is the fact that building an entire city would be quite a terrible idea. Can I actually make a steel crowbar? I should be able to. And so I'm going to be building a single large tower, and it's going to be in the same Victorian / Gothic style, but I believe that I should be able to cut and paste different genres and themes into the facades of the tower as I build it. So I expect it to look pretty cool in the end, but for now, I must wait. And funny enough, I've already started planning the build out. However, I would need so many more resources. Yeah, this little house won't quite cut it. I'm gonna have to make some more progress within this house and maybe even build out a garden. Not that I ever actually lawn base, but I foresee like a maintenance shed over there with some other stuff needed to build the tower, which I think I'm gonna build out in the plains over there. Nice big flat area. Oh well, I seem to have a guest over here. There's only one appropriate thing to do here, and that is to call this guy exactly what it says on the name tag. Where are you now? Let's find it. Here you are. Well, I don't know how you took some damage there, probably the rain or something, but yeah, you have fun. And it's currently following me around because I'm holding the flower. You know what? Should I trap him? Nah. Oh, be free, my child. Have fun. And of course, I'm like 2 cables short when trying to power this on using a hacky hole in the floor method using the old 4-amp energy converter. God damn it. But hey, a little bit of playing the video game later. We've got the last 2 cables needed to try this thing out. Let's hope it works. It's the first time. Everything should be powered. Are you carrying any power? 4 amps. Currently transmitting anything? Well, no, because this isn't active. I would need this to be running something. Okay, cool. Let's try the aluminum, because that happens to be the next step of the thing. With the EBF running, you start creating aluminum ingots, or aluminium ingots. So some clay in a macerator gives us clay dust. Fortunately, that's a fairly quick recipe. And then apparently electrolyzing 12 or 13 of these gives me aluminum and a bunch of other things. So I have made myself a basic electrolyzer. And yeah, I think I've forgotten to hook up the thingamajig over here. Import. Is that it? Yeah, eventually this will fill up. And there we go. I need to shut this up though. Quiet, please. Thank you. Ooh, I didn't account for the water. That's a nightmare. Can I make a fluid trash can and just dump the water out? Is that an option? And goodbye extra fluid. I just gotta configure a pump or something to pump out the fluids? Or can I say fluid output to this side? Is that something that's allowed? Can I do that? No, what are you? That's the fluid output? Then can I set everything else over here? I think I can. Is it doing it? I don't know if it is. Fortunately for me, just a couple Moni nickels gives me pumps that I can then put down here, and I believe I should be able to wrench this guy to say export whatever fluid. And sure enough, the water's going out. And I should have some aluminum. which I can finally put into the EBF. I believe that's the output side. Yeah, output bus. This is the input bus, so I should be able to do this. And it's not really doing anything. That's awfully concerning. Oh, it probably needs a circuit. And I believe circuit 1 gives me... Where do I set the circuit? What? Oh, it's in the input side. Okay, circuit 1, please. There we go. Look at that beautiful glow. And soon being in 20 seconds, I should be the proud owner of my first aluminum ingot. Or aluminium ingot. Ta-da! Wait, no achievement? Nothing? Just a quest? Alright, whatever. As you can see, I have already run completely out of power running this at MV for 20 seconds. And I also believe that probably means that everything is empty. These are going. And this is also going, but it's got no power left in it. I think the best case for now is just to disconnect this and let it just sit there for a bit while everything regenerates its power, and hopefully this buffer fills back up, at which point I should be able to run this again. What I really need though is those turbines and boilers. And I guess, albeit poorly, I now have ascended into the MV age. Where did I put this trophy? You know what? This will make an excellent bedside decoration. Perfect. So I've got 4 of these steam dynamos that I would like to upgrade to steam boilers, which need steam dynamos as the recipe. That means I need 4 steam pipes, and I've made an extruder to make cheaper iron gears. And I would need 4 of these, obviously, but according to the quest, there's a specific ratio, and I think it was 2 to 1. Oh, it's 1:2. So every boiler feeds 2 turbines. So yeah, 1 boiler, 2 turbines. Cool. So 4 boilers, 8 turbines. And this is much cheaper than expected, actually, given that I've already made the dynamos. So let's get to it. Just gotta make the gear mold first, and that's a few little steps here and there. Just gotta cut out the ring mold once again to make the gear mold. Here we go. Extruder's all the way in the back, and it does already have power. That goes there, and I've already lost my train of thought. Do I have the tree active? I do. How many go in here? 16 iron ingots to make 4 iron gears. Oh wait, never mind. This is MV gated, so oops. I can't do this. Well, it'll always be useful in the future. I guess I'm making gears by hand. At least this bender can do my bending for me, so 8 of these go in here and will turn into plates eventually. And of course, making the fused quartz also needs the mold, so who would have seen this coming? It's almost as if I messed up my order of operations. Do I even have any quartz on me? I gotta check, and I'm gonna be using the search that lets me just highlight stuff in world, and that's currently right here. I do not have enough quartz. Do I have blocks of quartz by chance? Because these can be crafted down into regular old quartz, and it seems like I do, somewhere in here. There we are, a few blocks of quartz. Might as well just turn a bunch of them into that stuff, and then it was over here, right? Yeah, 26. I just need the 16. Fortunately for me, scrolling works fairly well here. I should be able to walk on over to my alloy smelter. No. No, yeah, it is the alloy smelter. It's over here, isn't it? Here it is. It goes here, this goes here. And I believe this should be doing it. I hope it makes the correct thing. Fused quartz. It seems I've accidentally made 1 extra. You know what? That's completely okay. Can I now make the steam pipes? All 4 of them? I can. I'm just gonna toss this back here, and then I should just be able to yoink these guys and use them to make the boilers. However, if I do that right now, I will lose all the power and automation required to make the steam turbines. So I'll do these first. And following the proper ratios, I would need 8 turbines to match the output of my 4 steam boilers, and so that's around 224 redstone, a couple stacks, this, a stack of that, 24 gold. 2 stacks of wrought iron is probably the worst part of it all, because iron is easy to come by, that needs coal. Crafting montage? And you know, as always, handcrafting was a chore, especially doing it 8 times. But I can now take the 4 steam dynamos and convert them into steam boilers. That should be a quest. There it is. And place down all of these boilers, and as you can see, they start blinking. That means they're getting their water, and it's pretty much instantaneously turning into steam. This does raise a concern though. It seems that the water isn't coming in fast enough. But hey, they're already full of steam, so I don't know which is worse. We'll find out when we stress test the system a little bit more. I bet I had to change out these water collectors, because yeah, these are already emptying out. That's a problem. The quests, however, do point me into the direction of the more infiniter water, and I assume this would be faster than these water collectors. But that's for later KSAW to figure out. Right now I need some way of transferring steam, and I'm gonna stop using Ender IO because Ender IO is a buggy mess and I don't want to deal with that. I think I'm gonna stick to a laser IO for energy and maybe just use pipes for the steam, like some of these item pipes equivalents from GregTech. Yeah, I'll see what I can do. Tin and iron makes tin alloy. Ooh, but we are completely out of power. That is what I expected to happen. I just didn't expect it to happen so soon. I can't make any tin alloys, so I can't make any plates to make the pipes to transfer the steam, so I think I'm gonna be jerry-rigging this like so. Except this is gonna have to face the other way. I guess I'm using Ender IO just for a little while longer till I can tie myself over. I might even need extra cables. That would be a nightmare and a half. There we go, just had to, finagle stuff around for a bit, but we got it eventually. Shut up, please. Oh no, that is a sound I didn't expect. That is impressive. I enjoy that sound a lot. Thank you, Monifactory. Hell yeah. Wait a minute, something seems to be missing from the top left of the screen there. I wonder where my 4-amp energy converter went. More importantly, I wonder where all of my engines went. And the answer is that they went upstairs. I didn't record most of that because it was a slow and painful process to set this up because I kept running out of power, so I had to hook one of these up using the pipes that I was able to make and then transfer the power using the conduits I had across the floor because I didn't have enough conduits and blah blah blah. Eventually, I was able to set up this laser IO system. I had to craft up all of these extra nodes, and each one of these nodes gets their own energy cards. Yeah, it's a whole process, but it seems to be working. I did also end up upgrading to the aqueous accumulator, which happens to produce water so much faster. And I understand why the quest was called Infiniter Water. Yeah, it's using a pump on this pipe to pump water into all of these boilers. This thing's using a conveyor to pump sugarcane. And then all of these are exporting into this pipe that goes up and around to the ones in the top. All of the energy cards, like I've said, are on extract, and yeah, it hooks up into this laser connector and then hooks up into this node. Unfortunately though, with my shaders on, you can't see these pretty red lines, but that's honestly quite alright. I can live without them. It just would have been a nice to have if I could see these. So according to the quest book, 100 RF turns into 25 EU. It's a 4:1 ratio. And if each one of these can at most produce 160 RF per tick, that is 40 RF per tick per turbine. And I have 8 turbines. So 320 EU per tick is my generation capacity at the moment. But this means I have to talk about the energy system in Monifactory. I was in LV for a hot moment, and I'm just about to start breaking into MV. But I have HV, EV, which is extreme voltage, IV, which is insane voltage, ludicrous, CPM was 0 point something or the other, UV is ultimate voltage, UHV is high ultimate, UEV is extremely ultimate, UIV is insanely ultimate, and then max. And each one of these is 4 times the previous number. So where ULV starts at 8 EU per tick, LV starts at 4 times that, so LV starts at 32 EU per tick, MV starts at 128, and I am producing more than 128 RF per tick. But I'm producing less than 512, that means I'm not quite an HV yet, but I can be if I upgrade everything behind me. That means I'm officially an MV, yeah. There is, however, some nuance to be considered about amps and how they're consumed. Every recipe consumes their own set number of amps, and each amp tier, for example, 1 amp of MV would be 4 amps of LV, and then 4 amps of LV would be 16 amps of ULV because every tier is 4 times its predecessor. Yeah, something like that. I'm not entirely understanding all of this, but you know what? We're working through it. And I do believe that means I will need an upgrade over here at some point, because I would like to be pushing MV power out of this guy soon instead of having an LV 4 amp converter. I'm gonna look into that soon. And so, now that I'm done with a decent portion of the Genesis quests, which are the super early game quests, and I have also taken a quick detour into upping my power systems and setting up some factory stuff over here, I think I'm ready to dive on into the early game. Surprisingly, I have made no progress in the early game. That's just how GregTech and Monifactory tend to be. The first order of business happens to be the machine controller, which is what lets me use redstone to control the machines to turn them on and off. And then diodes would be my next step, which would need a silicon wafer. Here comes the Gregan. 6 tin dust, 1 antimony dust, and 3 lead dust on circuit number 3 should give me 10 soldering alloy. One of which I should be able to melt into 144 millibuckets of soldering alloy as a liquid, which would make 2 machine controllers. That is why all of this is in my inventory. I do wonder though, there's no circuit number, so just gotta reprogram this to be nothing. And then here is 10 soldering alloy. Now in the extractor I can throw down just one of these because I don't want to overproduce anything just quite yet. I'm still in the process of figuring all of these things out, but I do have this bronze drum that should allow me to just click this into the drum. And then I can walk on over to this guy and then click into the fluid slot and produce myself 2 of these. Perfect. That's that quest done, and if I hover over the diodes quest, I can see that I need gallium arsenide first, and that makes total sense because that takes me down to the silicon boules setup, where I can cut them into silicon wafers and then produce the diodes as required. And to get gallium arsenide, I would need ore processing, and with byproducts. Well, I guess I have 3 pages of reading to do. Yippee! And all that reading has taught me that I need some sphalerite to get my first gallium. I guess I have to go on a mining adventure again. And let's just say that that mining trip was a little bit successful. As you can see, I have a bunch of bauxite, a bunch of deep slate dust for silicon, kyanite, which I'll turn into aluminum at some point, and mica, which I have no use for currently, but I'll figure something out. I'm also slowly hoarding myself a few building materials like deep slate and this dripstone and a bunch of other textures like tuff. And that's because I want to be building soon. And you know, I searched for a while and I couldn't find any sphalerites, so I decided to look at it in its ore vein diagram, and it seems like it either spawns on Venus as a sulfur vein, or on the moon as a fluorite vein, or in the nether as a sulfur vein. And I haven't been to the nether yet. That's gonna be fun. Never mind, it seems like the nether is gated behind simulation chambers and hostile neural networks because you need hellish matter to make the nether cake. The nether portals are disabled. And I need at least some overworldian matter to get nether matter, and yeah, it doesn't seem like I can go there just yet. I need a little bit more stuff. Fortunately for me, sphalerite can be bought using Moni nickels, and I have spent a little bit of my monies to get a stack of sphalerite ore. Looking at this ore processing diagram, to get the most out of my sphalerite, I would crush it first in a macerator, and then probably ore wash it at LV tier to get some amount of yellow garnet dust as a byproduct. I can then either thermal centrifuge it to get a 33% chance at gallium dust, or I can macerator it again and then centrifuge it to get gallium dust this way. Now, that is a 14% chance and an 11% chance, so I think I'm gonna go down the route of the thermal centrifuge. And given that none of these are byproducts I need at the moment, I can go from the macerator down this line straight across to the thermal centrifuge. I hope that's making sense, because it makes sense to me. Either way, I just gotta wait for a little while longer. You know, waiting around and doing nothing is an absolute waste of time, so I've gone ahead and replaced this extruder with a thermal centrifuge, and this guy will be responsible for getting me my gallium. 6 gallium dust, that's good enough. The second half of my gallium arsenide equation happens to be arsenic, and the only way to get arsenic at the moment is to electrolyze 3 cobaltite dust into cobalt, arsenic, and sulfur. This is however gated at MV, and I think that's okay. I should be able to find an MV cable to hook into one of these electrolyzers or just make a new electrolyzer. My current concern, however, is to get cobaltite dust, I need to ore wash, well, cobalt with sodium persulfate for the best chances. And then I can thermal centrifuge it again to get a little bit more. But sodium persulfate is its own little rabbit hole. To get sodium persulfate, you gotta electrolyze sodium bisulfate, and sodium bisulfate comes from, well, a chemical reactor with salt and sulfuric acid. And you know, sulfuric acid happens to be its own fresh hell. I'm gonna chemical react oxygen and hydrogen sulfide, which I'm going to get through the distillation of coal tar. And to get coal tar, you need a pyrolyzing oven. And of course, I only realized this after searching through the recipe books for so long, but of course, the quest line directly after copper nickel coils tells me to make the pyrolysis oven. I have just received the blink of a task completion, but I promise you that I'm far from done. This pyrolysis oven is a multi-block and it too needs 16 copper nickel coils, so that means more copper nickel smelting for me. I could have just taken nickel and copper and made copper nickel in the alloy smelter instead of going through the crushing and mixing process. God damn it. Well, you live and you learn. Ta-da! I did hook it up, and just like its EBF brother over here, it takes 2 LV hatches, which means it is another MV machine, which means I am pretty darn close to my production limits right now. I can either run this machine and a couple machines downstairs, or this machine and a couple machines downstairs. Right. Now trying to remember what I made this for. Oh yeah, it was to make sulfuric acid from hydrogen sulfide, which I was planning on making from coal tar. And the coal tar comes from the pyrolysis oven. Yes. And to get my hands on some coal tar, all I gotta do is convert some of my wood into charcoal. In fact, I think I'll only do 4 stacks for now. And then just put this charcoal on into the oven. There we go. Neato burrito. Takes a minute, produces a little bit of ash, but most importantly it produces coal tar that will end up in the output hatch. And I have just put down a steel drum to automatically output into the side. I had this on the top initially, but of course you can't output into the bottom of a steel drum, you gotta output to the side, so here we are. And guys, with the pyrolyzing oven done behind me, I think it's time for y'all to like the video if you've enjoyed what I'm slowly cooking up, and maybe even subscribe so you don't miss out on future plans. In any case, guys, this has been KSAW from Overclocked SMP playing some Monifactory, and I'll see you next time. Peace out, everybody.